You are now entering the Horror Sanctum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast, and Happy New Year. We have officially entered 2025. I'm Jay with John and Kellen, and it may be 2025, but guys, I'm still thinking about those sweet, sweet horror movies of 2024. We covered several, but one that we missed is probably, I would say, top five horror flicks I saw last year, and that would be Strange Darling, directed by J.T. Mallner, starring Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner. Synopsis: Nothing is what it seems when a twisted one-night stand spirals into a killer's vicious murder spree. Now, this is a new film. You can buy it. I got it on Amazon for like $15. Well worth it, in my opinion. But this movie also has a very, very good twist, which is what turned me onto it so much. So, needless to say, spoilers galore. So be warned. But now let's go to our very own Strange Darling to kick things off.
And speaking of Strange Darling, I did not hear about this movie at all. I didn't, it wasn't on my radar. I didn't know about it. I didn't know what to expect. And it was amazing. This movie was.
All right. I'm not gonna lie. I texted John earlier and said if Kellen hates this movie, I might go off on him.
No, I agree.
Abigail,
this is one
fine.
of the top
I'll give
five.
you Abigail, but I would not have given you this.
No, this is top five for me as well. This was phenomenal. This was, if somebody decided they wanted to make a psychological thriller in the style of Quentin Tarantino minus overt dialogue, this would be the movie. And I love Tarantino, but we all know that he's very dialogue heavy in his movies. It's the writing is what draws you into those characters. This doesn't require it. It's the cinematography. It's the way the scenes are framed. The out of order placement that's what kind of reminds me of Tarantino, as well as the characters. Like you're enthralled by all of the characters involved. Willa Fitzgerald, she's from Reaper. I kept staring at her and I was like, I have seen her in something.
Reacher?
Reacher, yeah. Sorry, I said Reaper. Reacher. She was in Reacher. She was fantastic in that. Kyle Gallner, he's been in a bunch of horror films.
Oh my God. I have him pulled up. I have him pulled up on my phone because I low-key love him so much. And I was going to go through, like, listen to all the shit he's been in. He's been in so many horror films.
Oh, I'll leave that for you because I don't remember. I pulled it up. I was like, I'm not going to write all that down. That's it's way too many horror-related things. The only one I remember is The Haunting in Connecticut, and I haven't seen that. But he's fantastic. The movie in the first, I think it was 13 minutes, because this is how quickly I was drawn into this movie. Within the first 5 minutes, I started checking the time because I was like, I want to see how long this lasts because it pulls you in so quick and keeps you. And I was like, okay, I want to see how long this first sequence is because that's such an incredible way to start a movie. And in the context of what this movie is, it makes perfect sense to be shot out of order. If you had done this in order, it takes away that twist. It takes away the surprise, the suspense that's built. The scene where it shows him obviously strangling somebody, and you can hear the woman gasping for air, and you're like, he's obviously the bad guy. It's obviously him. It reminded me of "Smack My Bitch Up" by The Prodigy. That video, the whole premise of the video is it's obviously a man. Everything that's happened in here is something a man would do, and then plot twist, it was the woman the whole time. So you see him choking, and then you find out later, well, that was her. She wanted him to do that. It was a freaky, weird sex thing that she was getting off on before she killed him or tried to kill him, and eventually did. But the twist was so great. I didn't see it coming. Again, this wasn't on my radar. I didn't know anything about the movie. I hadn't researched anything about it. And I love going into a movie like that. I love when I haven't seen spoilers through previews. I haven't heard somebody mention something about it. I haven't seen it on social media. So this was so refreshing to watch and see a movie that completely caught me off guard, but also drew me in at the same time. The acting's phenomenal. The directing's phenomenal. The sequencing's phenomenal. The visuals are phenomenal. Back to the acting, the last probably 7 minutes of the movie when she gets shot by the native lady and she's dying in that car, and you can tell she's trying to reach for that other gun that she has, and she keeps trying, and she's looking at that woman, and she's the way she's moving her mouth, and she's in and kind of in and out, was such an a powerful scene in the way that she acted it, the way that Willa Fitzgerald played that moment of fighting not for her life but to take somebody else's while she's dying. Like she was gonna go down swinging and just couldn't get control. It reminded me of the end of Tombstone when Val Kilmer kills Johnny Johnny Ringo, when Doc Holliday finally kills him, and he's you ain't no Daisy. That whole just seeing the life go out of him, but still trying to fight. So well done. Ed Begley Jr. How can you not love him? He was great in that role to be the moment of the twist when his wife comes out and sees him on his knees, and you find out that she's not who you thought she was. That was such a great way to reveal it. I'm glad they didn't wait to the end. I'm glad that they revealed it halfway through, and then they go back and you kind of, now you're trying to figure out what kind of spider web this Black Widow's building. There's moments that I hated, but it was just because I didn't want things to happen. Like when she killed the cop, I didn't want that to happen. I was hoping that she would just get out and leave him alone. But it didn't take away from the movie. Like I said, this movie, I don't remember what the time was on it. I think it wasn't hour 37, maybe hour 27. It wasn't long. But it was the perfect length for this kind of movie. They didn't add a whole bunch of extra waste. It kind of really gets to the point, and starts telling the story in its twisted way. So I absolutely love this. And the Electric Lady is such a badass name for a female serial killer. They could have gone with something like a Black Widow. They could have gone with something you expected. And this movie was done so well. I did Google after to see if there was an Electric Lady serial killer. Spoilers, there's not. This is kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they say based on true events. And while there might be some things that were pulled from reality, this wholly is a work of fiction. There wasn't a lady that went on a killing spree and just kept getting away with stuff. Also kept getting so frustrated with everybody that couldn't see that. Obviously, woman in distress, a woman, she's chained to this thing. It's got to be the guy. It's got to be the guy. And they kept playing on that emotion and everybody else. And it does something in your mind as a viewer that creates so much frustration that when she finally gets hers, it's so satisfying, but she plays it so well, you're also kind of sad. You're sad that she got what she deserved, but you're also, happy because she's been so evil for this whole movie. So I thought this was fantastic. I don't know of anything else JT Molnar's done, but I would be interested to see something else that he's done. There's both of you shaking your head no, so I'm assuming he hadn't really done much.
He really hasn't done anything else, but I guarantee you people are going to be knocking on his door and getting him a call.
I hope so, because this was honestly, like I said, top 5 of the year. I put this up there with anything that you've seen this year, as far as just a quality film start to finish. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Sorry, I'm glad I didn't disappoint.
First thing I noticed watching it, so I watched it 2 times. Today I noticed the Spooky Pictures production thing, which is kind of funny. I thought that was kind of cute. It starts out, you see filmed in 35 millimeter. It's a beautiful film. There was one person online, I watched a lot of reviews of this movie too, because I was curious what others thought. There was one guy that nitpicked a lot, and he kind of was nitpicking a lot of those things like bragging about the film choice. And I didn't mind that. I think it's such a pretty movie, and it's so rare to see that. I understood what he was saying, but it wasn't a problem for me. Yeah, I liked it. I don't think it's amazing. I really don't. Just because it's very reminiscent of other things that I find a lot better. Like the first thing I think of when I see this movie is Mandy. Mandy's the easy comparison because there's something about the vibe of it and the way it's shot reminds me of Mandy. I think Mandy's a better movie, but I think the thing about this movie that's such a strong point is the acting and the twist. Ella Fitzgerald is a great actress. Like she is easily like just so effortlessly good. Now her character, the way she acted, I couldn't stand her. Like I absolutely couldn't stand her. Like even the way she acted in her character, the kink and all, I couldn't stand any of that. Like I was just like, oh my God, I hate this person. But she's also playing a character, right? She's luring this guy in. She's trying to, it's a cat and mouse thing. Obviously when you're in that sort of situation where it's like a kink game, I would think at a certain point you should know, hey, you probably shouldn't do this if this girl is wanting you to go this far, but there are people out there who are crazy, who are into this kind of stuff, who just go head first into danger. Um, just starting at the beginning though, the intro, it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what the intro was being an homage to. It was the John Larroquette type intro. Her as a killer, I'm pretty sure they were inspired by Eileen Wuornos from the movie Monster. The movie, it's about the serial killer who was she was like a prostitute in real life and she killed men. And it's kind of a sad story. I think that was probably like maybe an inspiration, like indirectly, kind of like how Ed Gein was indirectly an inspiration for TCM, but it wasn't like a straight line, right? Um, there's a lot of things in the movie that are you can definitely nitpick and question. I think the biggest things that you have to understand with this type of film, and I sort of I was better with it the second time was you have a lot of people in this movie acting very irrationally, but they're also drugged out of their mind. Like you think about Kyle Gallner, he shoots the car and she wrecks. And the first thing I thought was just stand on your hood and shoot her as she gets out. But he gets in his truck and tries to run her down. Why does he do that? Well, he does that because he's coked out of his mind. He's not thinking straight, right? He's obviously some sort of police officer, but it's clear this guy is just like he's been tortured. He's mad. He's like he's not. His emotions are outdoing his brain, right? So I think once you kind of like figure that out, it's a lot easier to take those nitpicks away because it's easier to understand the rationale. Even at the end, when she goes to the hippie's house and they eat that ginormous breakfast and then she's chained up in the thing and then she sprays him and he falls into her. I mean, like that kind of stuff, when you're irrational like that and you're in a life or death situation, no one can really know how you're going to act. And I saw a lot of people online nitpicking that shit. And it's like, well, it's you don't know how that would go, especially when you're on drugs, right? You think they have ketamine in their system, they got cocaine in their system. I will say the only person in the movie that I thought was like really smart was Gomi from Breaking Bad at the end, the cop. He was the only guy in the movie who was really smart because he immediately was like, we don't even know who the victim is here. And he knew there was something weird about it. And then of course he was right. She was using the girl's sympathy and used it against them. And he was right. So I felt bad for him because I was like, man, the one guy who sees this girl for the psycho that she is, it's too late, right? But I thought her acting was like so layered and interesting because you really didn't know what her backstory was. You really didn't know why she did what she did. You really didn't know why it was almost like she didn't know what she was doing as she was doing it. And I thought that was interesting. It was almost like sometimes she was playing a game the entire movie, right? Even as she was hurt, she was a victim. Like she's in the forest and she's drinking the water and she's tired. It's like she's got this mentality that's like a victim. And I just thought that was interesting. It's almost like a split personality, right? Like she has no idea moment to moment what's going to happen. And even at the end, when she kills the got Gomi from Breaking Bad, she sees him in the mirror and shoots him. And then it's like she can't believe that she gets shot when she gets in the truck with the Native American lady. She's just sitting there. I just thought that was interesting as a killer because I think coming out of the movie, there's just so many ways you can interpret like how she was acting, how Cal Gallner was acting, like what they were doing, what they were thinking. And I thought that was kind of cool that she didn't have it all together. She wasn't like she didn't seem to have a plan. She was just kind of crazy and she would kind of just change with every situation. Um Overall though, I did like it. I think it's very strange. I think there are points of it I probably would have done differently. Um I don't think it's like I don't know. It's hard. There's a lot of good movies in 2024. I think it's a really good movie. I just it's hard for me to put it in like top three or anything, but it is something that I can easily understand why people like it, come back to it. I can easily understand the appeal. So yeah, overall, I did enjoy it. Yeah.
I feel like we're back to the status quo where you didn't like a movie as much as everybody else instead of Kellen shitting on a movie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm a harder critic, I think. with
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
and
this.
and that's fair because this
Yeah.
movie's not for everyone by any means. I want to go back to the erratic and all that. So she definitely has some sort of mental illness, like 100%. And the speech she gives at the end, well, not necessarily a speech, but the line where she says sometimes she sees people as dogs, and that's how she kills them so easily. First of all, fuck off. You know, it should be easier to kill a human than a dog. But she was definitely struggling with something there. There were a couple of frustrating parts. Also, you said Kyle Gallner. I say Kyle Gallner. I don't know which one it is, but Gallner
Yeah, I don't
sounds
know.
better in my mouth, so I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
have
go
no
with
idea.
I'd go with Gallner because
Yeah.
gallbladder.
Because gallbladder, yeah.
It's probably Gallner.
Who
Honestly,
knows?
that's
I've been
true,
calling Blumhouse my entire life, and I still do because it sounds so much better than Blumhouse. Like, Blumhouse. But anyways, I digress. So let me shift back to my notes here so I don't get all jumbled. 35 millimeter. If it didn't say that, would you have really noticed? Like John, you probably would have. But like Kellen and I, we wouldn't have sat there and like, I think this was 35 millimeter.
Right.
No, absolutely not. So
Right.
whoever's complaining about that can piss off. Um, the saying it's a movie is a dramatization of a true story, kind of like an unsolved mysteries type thing. I like that. That was something I haven't really seen. It does turn the serial killer genre on its head a bit. There were so many red flags for Kyle Garner to see and stop, and I don't understand why he continued to do what he was doing. And then I thought back after the ketamine and everything, I'm like, it's because he was an addict. I guarantee you he was an addict to some degree during his time on the force, because she even makes a reference like, do you want to call your sponsor? Now she doesn't know his background clearly because she didn't know he was a cop. But I think he probably had some addiction. Even when he calls his buddy cop, I'm in trouble, come out. You could kind of sense that guy was like, this is not like him. He's a different person. So I kind of think he probably was an addict. So that would explain ignoring the red flags. I think it said it was a movie told in 6 parts, but I think we started number 6, and it goes like 3. 4. I enjoyed that because it was kind of like a puzzle getting put together right before our eyes, and we all had our assumptions in the beginning. I was always suspicious, just because I've watched so much shit in my life, and it's really really hard to surprise me. I'm not saying this didn't, but it didn't like blow my lid off. But I still think it's one of the best twists in a movie I've seen in a very long time. Ed Begley Jr. High as fuck, making what was eggs, pancakes, sausages, tons of butter, jam, jellies. That was hilarious. I don't quite understand the game they were playing with the puzzle. Anybody understand the
I don't
game?
know.
They were just competing to see who could put the most pieces in.
Okay. Well, but then you just switch because
No,
whoever
they
goes
were
first would win, right?
I guess they were just taking turns, seeing maybe they were timing. I don't know, but it was basically we're just seeing who could.
They
get the most
probably
pieces,
didn't know
'cause he
either.
was like 3 pieces ahead of her, is what he said, and then one mother.
Right? Was it Scott Baio? Was it a Scott Baio puzzle?
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic, fantastic.
and they had to point out we don't like Scott Baio. They just give them out free.
Like the farmer's market or something.
Yeah,
that was so good. It was shot beautifully. It looked great, and like we said, the guy. I don't think he's directed anything I've heard of before, but I bet he's going to start now. Willa Fitzgerald, fantastic. Reacher, she was in the Scream TV series. It was on MTV. That was okay. But Kyle Garner, let's go back to him for a second because we talked about it earlier. I'm gonna mention some movies he's been in, horror movies, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, he's been in so many. Low key. So he was in Smile and Smile 2, 2 of John's favorites. Strange Darling. John, you should finish Smile 2. It was better than the first one, I think.
I'm good. Thank you, though. I'm good.
Jennifer's Body. The Passenger from last year, which if no one has seen The Passenger, and I'm sure you guys haven't, it's fantastic. It's a Blumhouse film. Him and his buddy work at a restaurant, and they end up killing some people. And they go on the run. It's a great movie. Haunting in Connecticut. He was in the. Can anybody see the cat behind my head? I apologize. He was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He was in Scream, the second to last one. American Sniper. The Cleansing Hour, which if no one has seen The Cleansing Hour, amazing. They do an exorcism on live TV, similar to Late Night with the Devil, but I think it was in Spanish, but also a great movie. Beautiful Creatures, which is that counts. Red State. Has anybody seen Red State?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic movie. He was in that. Ghosts of War, terrible movie with the guy who plays the Flash on the TV show. That kind of rounds out like the biggest horror movies. He was in Sublime back in the day. Like he's been around the block. He is the horror version of Jesse Plemons. You put him in a movie and he's going to steal the show. How many minutes did you get through on Smile 2, John?
I got through it. I just fast forwarded it.
Okay.
I just fast forwarded
he was the opening because he picked up from the original, but he is so captivating in 5-7 minutes, like the opening of that movie. He's so damn good. I hope to see him a lot more. I've tried to get him on the show. I haven't had much luck, but he's someone who deserves to be in bigger more horror films. I would love to see that happen. So what I didn't like, and one of you touched on it, I don't remember which one, is when the cops come. So I just have a cat on my shoulder. So when they come, the woman automatically knows what's happened. She's like, oh, she was raped, she was beaten, blah, blah, blah. The Me Too thing. And Me Too is a wonderful thing. I'm so glad it happened. It needed to happen. Women need to speak out. But just because most men are garbage does not mean all men are garbage, right? And this movie kind of plays on that. I'm like, is this, what's the opposite of feminist? Meninist? Like, because the female cop believes her, and then she argues with the other guy saying, just because I have a vagina, you think I don't know what I'm talking about? He had that great line saying, no, it's because you were in diapers when I was doing this job. She automatically assumed what happened. He was trying to go by protocol. That kind of irritated me. And again, Me Too is incredibly important. But there are a lot of people out there that cry wolf. There are a lot of people out there that will lie for their own personal gain. They'll exploit people. And one that comes to mind is Chris Hardwick. I love Chris Hardwick. Chris Hardwick's ex accused him of being violent, abusive, controlling, yada, yada. He got fired from everything. Not one person came out negatively in regards to his character. Not one person. No ex-girlfriend. No one. So they finally realized, like, she was Chloe something. I've seen her once when I saw him at Zany's. She was there. She was on a lot of his bowling episodes he did.
I was just going to say, I actively, I still follow the Nerdist per se, just because I catch stuff from them, but I refuse to interact with anything and add to their algorithm. I won't Q on anything, because when it all came out that it was basically fabricated and that he was cleared, they never apologized to him, and they ran him through the mud on.
And he made them who they were. That's what pissed me off too.
They took him off as founder and CEO. They took his name out of the history of their creation when he is the Nerdist. Granted, he did sell it, but they took his name completely off of everything. And then when it came to light that it was just a disgruntled ex that was trying to take advantage of his sudden rise in popularity. I mean, he was singled out as host. Nobody really cared about that. But then when he started doing The Talking Dead, he blew up and was everywhere. Like you said, several exes came to his defense, which is way more beneficial than one person writing an obscure piece that's not supposed to be pointing at anybody specifically, which obviously pointing towards him. When you have multiple people in your dating history, come back and say you were nothing but a gentleman and you were absolutely great, and they do that on their own. So screw you, Nerdist. I have zero respect for anybody in leadership there because you were unwilling to apologize to the person who put you where you were.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the entertainment
Off my
industry
soapbox.
is nonsense. They weaponized that because they knew it would make them money. It wasn't about the right thing to do, even though it was the right thing to do. It's just that idea of, especially the Hollywood entertainment industry, they don't do things for moral reasons. They do things for money.
Oh yeah.
Anything they ever do is for money,
And, you
always.
And we
know,
love you, Chris Roderick. Hardwick, please come on the show.
I'm friends with his mom on Instagram. She's a little. It seems some of her posts are a little questionable, but she interacts. So, but yeah, there's when people die, like celebrities die, there's some that affect us harder than others because it's someone we've grown up with, it's someone we idolize, etc. When that stuff came out about him, it ruined my entire day. Like ruined me, like because I held him to such a high standard, and I thought about it. Take a, if you step back from the situation and look at it. So, like Kellen said, he and her were right here, and then he just, and she kind of stayed, if not went down. So I feel like it was just a play for her to try to be relevant again and try to get some attention and bring him down. Maybe the breakup was bad, but you know what? That's life. We have bad breakups. I've been accused not of anything like sexual or anything, but I've been accused of mistreating someone, and that wasn't the case at all. So I know what it's like to have someone say, X, Y, and Z, but it's not the case, and it happens a lot. So that was the biggest thing. But I'm sure the guy was trying to, the director writer was trying to point at this. There was some underlying thing they were doing here. But that was my biggest irritation, is just, let's automatically believe her. We can all, we're all bullshitters. We've done it our entire lives. We do it every day. So why do we automatically assume now, just because there are like Weinstein, these other people who are terrible, PD, there are terrible people, but it's not all of us.
And he did a good way, because the main sheriff's deputy or detective or whatever you want to call him wasn't blaming anybody. He was basically saying, no, we need to figure out what's real, what happened. We need to just take a step back. Let's not jump to conclusions. And I think that is a great message.
And
which
one survived? Which one survived?
Yeah.
And like, and maybe this was I would assume that this was Kellen's favorite line in the movie. When this does happen and she reveals that she's the killer, he looks at her and is like, "You dumb bitch!" like I fucking told you. Why wouldn't you listen to me?
Well, and you got to think too, like that might have also been part of the reason. Like, if this woman's really crazy, not just killing people, she ruined that cop's life for the rest of it, because she's going to find out that he died, and she's going to realize ultimately it's because she wouldn't listen to him, because she jumped to conclusions. So she's done. Like, she got it worse. Psychological torture on a totally different scale.
It was kind of like that Dax Shepard video I sent you today.
Yeah. Just totally got in her head for the rest of it. She will live on forever, because she will never leave that woman's mind.
Yeah. And is it a hard movie to watch? It's not really a hard movie to watch. Like, the subject matter is, the bedroom scene could kind of give you some issues if you go to church every Sunday. But overall, I think it's a movie anyone could really watch and appreciate. Like, it is horror, it's thriller, but it's right on that cusp of horror, where like kind of like Angel, movies like Silence of the Lambs, like movies like that are just kind of on the cusp. Serial killers are horror. But all right. That's all I have. So we'll go around and give our rankings. We'll close up shop. I gave it 4. I think I gave it 4 the first time I watched it. So I watched it again today, and I love everything about it. There's not anything I can really nitpick besides, what we just talked about. But again, that was written in there for a reason. But I think I'll stick with my 4 ranking. So I give it a 4. Kellen?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And my ADD brain won't let me forget this. I had to bring it up because John mentioned it. Aileen Wuornos. If you haven't watched the TV show Cross, if you're a horror fan, watch that as well. The new show Cross is fantastic, and she's part of the subject matter of that series. just because once you watch it, you understand what's happening. But fantastic television show. We binge watched it here in like 3 nights. It's eight almost hour long episodes, and we sat
No
up
free
till
shout outs. No free shout
we
outs.
we sat up till midnight watching the last 4 episodes. So, but yeah, watch that. That's fantastic. But yeah, I give this a 4. I'm with Jay. Like, you can nitpick things about it, but in Hollywood, where everything is so overly manufactured and it's hard to find original stuff, or stuff that's at least done really well, that's outside of that formulaic Hollywood model for success, is a win. So I look forward to seeing more stuff from JT Nollner, or however you say his name.
Nollner.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So 4 for me as well.
Johnny boy.
Yeah, I think that she definitely played on the Me Too thing. She knew that was something to her advantage. I mean, just when she pulled down her pants, like, she knew what she was doing. I don't know if the director, I'm assuming the director was probably poking fun at that, like you said, like the idea of how
And
we
she used it
assume.
multiple times. She used it in the hotel or whatever lobby of that business too.
Right. It had to be intentional. And it's nice to see that, just because, like, Hollywood and the entertainment industry is so black and white, like everything. They're just pretty much, they're all fucking idiots. Like, they all think like black or white. They don't have any gray area. So it's nice to see a director actually poke fun at that. That's like, has a brain. Um, yeah, I liked it. Obviously, at the end, she got shot. I feel like if she got away at the end, that would have really hurt it for me, because I would have been like, "Oh my God, I don't need the Henry portrait of a serial killer ending." Right. The last thing I will say is the director of photography is Giovanni Ribisi for this movie, which is kind of interesting. An actor, he's doing that and producing. But yeah, that being said, it's a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's really good. There were some things I didn't like about it, but it's a good movie. It's really good.
You mentioned Giovanni Ribisi. It says he was in the movie, but I did not recognize or see him at all.
Yeah, I looked again today when I watched. I'm like, I don't see him at all, unless it's the name is a name he goes under as DP. I don't know.
And if you don't know who he is, Google, because he's an underappreciated gem of an actor. Dude's amazing.
Really is. So that puts us at a 4. That's kind of where I thought we were going to go. So back to the Nerdist real quick. If you listen to our Bria Grant episode, something she did was called the Real Housewives of Horror, which is a play on the Real Housewives of wherever, but they're married to serial killers. So like, one's a possession demon, one it's not Harvey Weinstein, Harvey something. The show they used to make Giant Food, that main guy, the chef, him. But anyways, there's like a Chucky version. It's only 6 episodes. They're like 6 minutes each. They're from the Nerdist. It was, I think, Kevin Pereira, whatever, from Attack of the Show. He's in it. I think he kind of created, but it's fantastic. That's the second best thing the Nerdist ever produced besides
Onyx the Fortuitous. They gave him a platform.
Ah, damn it! I forgot
Andrew Bowser. But still, I didn't like any. I enjoyed his content on there, but I refused to give him a heart or a thumbs up. Sorry, Andrew.
Nerdist, I haven't forgiven them, but they've given us some nice things. Also, I want to reiterate: if you liked this movie, watch The Passenger. I think it's on Tubi. It's definitely on the website. Wink. It feels very similar. It's not quite the same. I guess kind of the same, but it's a little bit darker. It's very, very well done, and I don't even think it released in theaters. I think it was like Epix or Paramount, someone exclusive. But check it out. It's called The Passenger. It came out last year. Kyle Garner, amazing flick. All right, closing up shop. That's it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Join our group on Facebook. We're on TikTok. And there is an Amazon Music playlist featuring music, guests, everything from previous episodes. So check that out too. Signing off, I'm Jay with John and Kellen. And until next time,
keep it spooky.
and Happy New Year. This was recorded on December 5th, 2024.
Hey, clarify for me, on the calendar, it says there's none.
Yeah, so the week of Christmas.
December?
It's the week of Christmas, so I just said we wouldn't do an episode
Oh, okay.
because
We're
doing
not
the Friday
we're
the
not going to
13th.
release one.
No, so we're already doing one extra with the Friday the 13th. So if it was the 21st, maybe, but since it's the 23rd, everybody's going to be busy. Holidays seem to affect views, so I was like, we'll just skip that week.
Makes sense. Yeah, it was nice to watch something. Nice to watch
TJ's
something
supposed
I
to be
enjoy.
on Frankencon's podcast right now instead of us. So
Oh, is he doing that tonight?
I thought so.
Oh, we're doing
that was
two.
his
Are we doing
excuse.
3 next week or 2? I think we're doing 3, right?
2 nights, 3 movies.
3 nights,
And
yeah,
I
that's
wrote
right.
all the
Okay.
scripts today, bro.
I couldn't remember.
So what's the Arnold one again?
End of Days.
End of Days.
Which
I don't know if I've ever really. I've seen that, but it's been 20 something years, so I basically haven't seen it.
Guess what? I could walk over here and pull it off the shelf.
It's been.
I think I have it, or I might have had it before I saw the movie.
It's one of those movies when you watched it back in the day, you were like, "This is the greatest movie I have ever seen in my life." And then when you watch it later,
Not so much.
That movie's not that great, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And Kevin Pollak steals the show.
Oh, nice. That's a random actor.
Yeah, he's
a great impressionist.
He is really. Yeah, he is really funny.
Kellen, have you seen End of Days before?
No.
Okay. Also, great soundtrack featuring Rob Zombie, Creed, Mudvayne.
Speaking of, did you see my Hellbilly Deluxe 2 that I got on Music on Vinyl?
I don't know. Did you send
nice.
it to us?
Yeah, it was in that
with the
ones
video.
where you
Oh yeah, I want that. How much was the Bloodhound Gang one?
It was like $60.
Fuck, that's such a good album.
Yeah.
That is low key a fantastic album.
I know. I was looking at all the songs on it, and I was like, oh my god. That's the only reason I don't splurge on a lot, but I've never seen that anywhere. It's hard to find, and I think this was like an old copy. So I was willing to give Chad my money. I also picked up the Cardigans album, which everyone has. Well, that's the song everybody remembers. That's not the best song on that album. What is it? Something Game. Favorite game. Favorite game on that album.
Okay.
If you don't remember that song, just look it up. It's totally different than that Love Me song. It's more rock. And that song is phenomenal. So as soon as I saw that go up for auction, I went ahead and got it.
I like how you're talking to an audience like they're still sticking around. So Kellen, did I tell you I haven't seen Thackeray in like over a week?
Oh no.
I'm like RIP, right? So I'm coming home and I'm on the road before mine. It's called Kimberly. And I see a black cat in a driveway. And I like slam on my brakes, turn around, pull up, and I always said, "Hey bud," whenever I came home. So I'm sitting there and he's like looking at me kind of scared. I said, "Hey bud." And he kind of perked up and I said, "Hey bud." And then he like walked in front of my car. I put my flashers on. I got out and he came to me. I picked him up and I was going to take him home. I put him in the car and he freaked. So I guess he's got a new family now.
No.
But I'm glad he's alive, but I'm also sad that he didn't want to come back home with me.
Yeah.
But
I just got an update that my that sucks and RIP Thackeray. But I'm gonna hold out hope that he just got adopted by a loving family that feeds him treats every night and gives him all the snuggles and pets and leaves him inside. That being said, I just got a notification Thursday, December 19th from Amazon. My 20th anniversary steelbook edition of Shaun of the Dead is coming.
Nice. I have like 3 steelbooks of Shaun of the Dead.
The 2 Blu-rays look like vinyl records.
I'm gonna be one person away from Robert Pattinson on that day.
Who's the one person?
His baby mama is gonna be at Grammys.
Nice. They're doing their Christmas. Their what 30, 20 years, 25 year celebration.
20 something, yeah. Yeah, and I saw that Journey's playing at their new music venue, so whatever.
Journey with the Filipino guy.
Yeah,
I thought he was leaving the band.
I don't know. Somebody's in the band, but Journey's coming.
Yeah, I thought
he'll never
he was
replace
still in
Steve
it.
Perry.
He sounded just like Steve Perry.
Yeah, he'll never replace him though.
Yeah, it's
Steve
impossible.
Perry,
them and Alice in
greatest
Chains.
Nas in show business.
Them and Alice in Chains are like the 2 of the best bands that replace singers that are very, very close.
Yeah, William Duvall was fantastic live with Alice in Chains.
Homie from 3 Days Grace came back. Did you see that? But they didn't get rid of the other singer, so they're both on the new song. I'm like,
Oh.
But all right.
fun.
That was fun. I'm glad you liked it, Kellen. I was gonna get you if you didn't.
Yeah, this is my kind of movie. I enjoy the
It is very
more
Tarantino-y.
psychological. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that out of order shooting to build suspense. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm glad they didn't wait till the very end to reveal the twist. I'm glad it was kind of like right in the middle, and then so that way you're building even more tension, seeing how she got to the point where he's chasing her through the woods.
Watch that Housewives of Horror on YouTube. It's fun and it's so
Pretty
fast. Like 40 minutes tops. It's her and anybody else watch Holliston with Adam Green and Joe Lynch.
I know of it. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it.
So
Though.
Joe Lynch's girlfriend on the show is one of the housewives. It's a fantastic show too. His imaginary friend was the guy from Guar, the singer from Guar.
That's funny.
And he lived in
That's
his
nice.
closet. Yeah, it was fantastic. And Tony Todd was in it for a little
Oh
bit.
wow!
Oh, well, that's
R.I.P.
good.
Tony.
Water. I know.
Very cool.
Full Moon's playing his last movie. It's called the Activated Man. I'm like, there's got to be a better name for whatever this is about.
I don't know why that reminded me of The Lawnmower Man, but that's a movie I want to watch. I've never seen it.
Good movie.
It's
The effects are groundbreaking.
yeah.
That's why it's been so hard for me. I've watched Tron Legacy and I enjoyed it, but I can't watch Tron because I see clips from it and I'm like, it looks so bad.
Mm.
It was a different time.
And
Yeah,
as
it
good
was.
as Star Wars was, as good as 2001: A Space Odyssey was for special effects, and that's the best you could do was like grainy gray suits with overdeveloped light. What were you doing, Disney?
Yeah, it's
Can I
bad.
just tell you, I feel like it's 9:00 right now for some reason.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's only 7. It's crazy.
I know.
This has been dark for 3 hours.
Hmm
All right.
All right. See
Adios,
y'all
amigos.
next week for
Several
times. The 10th and 11th. So we're not recording next Thursday, right? We're doing Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. Yep.
I need to watch all those movies again. Not Terrifier 3. I think I've got a good grasp on that, but I need to watch Friday the 13th.
Oh, I can't watch that again. I'm gonna have to fast
So
forward through it.
Lindsay,
What, Terrifier or Friday the
Terrifier
13th?
3. I can't put
Oh.
myself through that again.
Lindsay,
I'm gonna have
Lindsay, every December, her and her mom and sisters, they make cookies on a Saturday. So tomorrow night she's going up there and she's just going to stay the night, and then she's going to be up there all day, and then she's seeing Casey Musgrave Saturday night. So I'm not going to see her. I'm going to have these dogs, but I was like, I'm going to take a gummy. I might watch Terrifier 3 like late at night on my TV. It's the first time, well, I saw it in theaters, but
Wow.
I think I want to watch it again anyways. It's a comfort movie, you know?
Terrifier 3.
Why not?
Damn.
I will say, like, and not to get spoilers on anything, I do think that the shower scene was not as good as the bedroom scene. As far as if you're talking about like, oh, this is the one that's going to outdo it, I don't think it outdid it. But
I agree.
Spoilers for next week.
I agree completely.
I'm not saying anything about it yet.
Mom's the word. All right. Laters.
Later,
y'all.
y'all.